High Commander Vexrus of the Krelian Empire stood before the massive display screen in the War Council chamber. His 4 eyes blinked in sequence as he watched the footage for the 100th time. Around him sat the greatest military minds of 7 different species, all members of the Galactic Coalition. They had gathered to study a new threat. They had gathered to understand the impossible. The humans. "Play the recording again," Vexrus ordered. His voice was tired. He had not slept in 3 cycles. The screen flickered to life. It showed the Battle of Nexus Prime from 6 standard months ago. The Coalition had sent 40 warships to crush a small human colony. The humans had only 12 ships to defend themselves. By all laws of warfare, the outcome should have been simple. The Coalition should have won easily. Instead, the footage showed chaos. Human ships flew directly into the Coalition formation. They did not stay at safe distances like proper warships. They did not follow standard engagement patterns. They flew so close that both sides could not use their main weapons without hitting their own ships. "This makes no sense," said Admiral Thrix of the Veloran Navy. His feathered crest rose in frustration. They had no chance of winning a straight fight. Why did they close the distance? Why did they make it worse for themselves? "Because they did not make it worse," Vexrus replied. "They made it worse for us. Watch." On screen, a human destroyer flew directly between 2 Coalition cruisers. The cruisers fired at the destroyer. They missed. Their shots hit each other instead. Both cruisers exploded. "They used our own weapons against us," Vexrus continued. "They knew that at close range, we would hit ourselves more than we would hit them. They accepted the danger to themselves because they knew it would hurt us more." "That is insane," Thrix said. "No rational species would take such risks." "And yet they won," Vexrus said. "They destroyed 23 of our ships. They lost only 4. The rest of our fleet retreated. A colony with 12 ships defeated a force of 40. The room fell silent. Every commander present had studied warfare for their entire lives. They had learned the rules. They had followed the patterns. Distance was safety. Caution was wisdom. Risk was to be avoided. The humans followed none of these rules. Strategic analyst Morvix stepped forward. She was a Synthari, a species known for their logical minds and careful calculations. Her gray skin was pale from too many hours studying data. "I have analyzed 37 engagements with human forces," she said. "I have found patterns, but they make no logical sense. The humans consistently choose strategies that should fail. They attack when they should defend. They advance when they should retreat. They fight when surrender would save more lives. And they keep winning," Vexrus added. "Yes," Morvix said. "In 37 engagements, the humans have won 31 times. 6 of those engagements should have been impossible for them to win based on all known military science. They won anyway." She pressed a button and new footage appeared on screen. This showed the defense of Haven Station. The humans had only a single cruiser to protect a civilian station. The Coalition attacked with 8 destroyers. "The human commander here was Captain Sarah Chen," Morvix explained. "By all calculations, she should have surrendered. She had no chance of victory. The station could have been evacuated. Instead, she did this." The footage showed Chen's cruiser accelerating toward the enemy fleet, but she was not aiming at the ships. She was aiming at the space between them. At the last moment, her ship released all its escape pods. Then the cruiser exploded. The explosion was massive. It destroyed 3 Coalition destroyers outright. The debris damaged 2 more. The remaining 3 ships turned and fled. "She destroyed her own ship," Thrix said in disbelief. "She sacrificed her vessel to win." "She overloaded her reactor on purpose," Morvix confirmed. "She turned her ship into a bomb. Her crew evacuated in the escape pods. All of them survived. Chen received a medal for her actions." "A medal," Thrix repeated. "They celebrated this madness." "It worked," Vexrus said. "They saved the station. They saved the civilians. By any measure, it was a victory. General Korth of the Dravix Dominion spoke for the first time. He was ancient by his species' standards, with scales that had turned white from age. He had fought in more wars than any other being in the room. "I have studied the humans for 2 years now," Korth said. His voice was slow and heavy. "I have read their history. I have analyzed their past wars. I have come to a conclusion that I do not like." "What conclusion?" Vexrus asked. "The humans are insane," Korth said. "But their insanity follows rules. It has a logic that we do not understand because we are sane." The room stirred with confusion. Korth continued. "The humans evolved on a death world. Their planet tried to kill them every day. They survived by taking risks that no rational species would take. They learned that sometimes the crazy choice is the only choice that works. They learned to embrace danger because danger was all they knew. We evolved on stable worlds," Korth continued. "Our planets were kind to us. We learned caution. We learned patience. We learned to minimize risk. But the humans learned the opposite. They learned that risk is opportunity. They learned that madness can be victory." Morvix pulled up more data. "This supports what General Korth is saying. Human history is filled with battles won through tactics that should have failed. They call this approach audacity. They believe that bold action can overcome superior numbers and position." "But how do we fight them?" Thrix demanded. "How do we beat an enemy that does not follow the rules?" "I do not know," Vexrus admitted. "Every tactic we have tried has failed. We outnumber them. We have better technology. We have more resources. None of it matters. They keep finding ways to win that we cannot predict." The War Council fell into argument. Some wanted to continue fighting. Some wanted to negotiate. Some wanted to flee. No one had an answer. And somewhere in the darkness of space, the humans were already planning their next impossible victory. Captain Marcus Cole stood on the bridge of the THS Defiance and looked at the tactical display. The display showed his fleet of 15 ships. It also showed the coalition fleet of 60 warships waiting for them. "Well," said his first officer, Lieutenant Commander Yuki Tanaka, "that's a lot of ships." 4-to-1 odds, Cole agreed. "Could be worse." "How exactly could it be worse?" "Could be 5-to-1. Tanaka laughed. She had served with Cole for 3 years. She had learned that he joked most when things were most dangerous. It was his way of staying calm. "What's the plan, Captain?" she asked. Cole studied the display. The coalition fleet was positioned in a perfect defensive formation. They had learned from past battles. They were no longer bunching together where human ships could cause chaos. They had spread out in a wide arc, each ship supporting its neighbors. "They're learning," Cole said. "That formation is smart, hard to break. So we can't do our usual dance through their lines." "No, if we try that, they'll pick us off one by one. We need something different." Cole walked to the main viewport and stared out at the stars. Behind his fleet was the planet of New Horizon. 50,000 colonists lived there. If his fleet fell, those colonists would have no defense. "Sir," said the communications officer, "the coalition is hailing us. They want to negotiate surrender." "Put them through." The face of High Commander Vexrus appeared on screen. His 4 eyes regarded Cole with what might have been curiosity. "Captain Cole," Vexrus said, "I have studied your record. You have won 7 battles that you should have lost. I respect your skill. But today there is no skill that can save you. Surrender now, and I promise fair treatment for your crews and colonists." "That's a generous offer," Cole replied. "Let me make a counteroffer. Turn your fleet around and go home. Do that and I won't destroy you." Vexrus blinked all 4 eyes. "You cannot be serious. I have 60 ships, you have 15. "I can count, Commander. The math doesn't worry me." "Then you are insane." Cole smiled. It was not a friendly smile. "That's what everyone keeps telling me. It hasn't changed the outcomes yet." Vexrus cut the transmission. Cole turned back to his bridge crew. "All hands," he said over the shipwide channel. "This is the captain. We're outnumbered 4-1. The enemy has a solid formation. By every rule of warfare, we should lose, but we're not going to follow the rules. We're going to write new ones. Battle stations." He turned to Tanaka. "Here's what we're going to do. It's crazy. It might not work, but it's the only thing they won't expect." He explained his plan. Tanaka's eyes grew wider with each detail. "Captain," she said when he finished, "that's the most insane thing I've ever heard." "Is that a problem?" She thought about it for a moment, then she smiled. "No, sir, let's do it." The human fleet began to move, but they did not move toward the coalition formation. They moved away from it. They flew toward the asteroid belt at the edge of the system. On the coalition flagship, Vexrus watched in confusion. "What are they doing?" "They are running away." "It appears so, High Commander," his tactical officer replied. "Should we pursue?" "Yes, do not let them escape. All ships follow the humans." The coalition fleet broke formation and gave chase. They were faster than the human ships. They would catch them before they reached the asteroid belt. This would be an easy victory. But as they pursued, the human fleet split up. Ships went in different directions. Some went high, some went low, some curved left or right. The organized fleet became scattered chaos. "What are they doing?" Vexrus demanded. "This makes no tactical sense. They are dividing their forces against a superior enemy." "They appear to be heading for different parts of the asteroid belt, High Commander." Vexrus considered this. The asteroid belt was dense with rocks of all sizes. Large ships would have trouble navigating it, but the humans had smaller ships. They could move through the asteroids more easily. "Do not follow them into the belt," Vexrus ordered. "Position our fleet around the perimeter. We will wait for them to come out." The coalition fleet spread out around the asteroid belt. They had the humans trapped. There was nowhere for them to go. Eventually, they would have to come out and fight. Hours passed. The humans did not emerge. "What are they doing in there?" Thrix asked. He had joined Vexrus on the bridge. "They cannot hide forever." "Sensors are showing unusual energy readings from inside the belt," the tactical officer reported. "The humans are doing something, but I cannot determine what." Vexrus felt a chill run down his spine. He had learned to fear the unexpected when fighting humans. "Get me a probe into that belt. I want to know what they are planning." They launched a probe. It transmitted images for 30 seconds before going silent. Those 30 seconds were enough. The images showed human ships attached to large asteroids. They were fitting the asteroids with engines. They were turning the rocks into weapons. "They're going to launch the asteroids at us," Vexrus realized. "All ships pull back, get away from the belt." But it was too late. The asteroids came screaming out of the belt at impossible speeds. Dozens of them, hundreds of them. The human ships had spent hours rigging every rock they could find with engines and explosives. The coalition fleet tried to shoot down the asteroids. They destroyed many of them, but there were too many. The rocks slammed into ships all across the formation. Explosions filled space with light and debris. And then the human ships emerged from the belt. They flew through the chaos, targeting damaged coalition vessels. Ship after ship fell to their attacks. Vexrus watched his fleet die around him. 60 ships reduced to 20, then 15, then 10. "Retreat," he ordered. His voice was hollow. "All surviving ships retreat." The remnants of his fleet fled. Captain Cole watched them go from the bridge of the Defiance. "Damage report," he said. "We lost 4 ships," Tanaka reported. 11 remaining, the enemy lost 50. Cole nodded. "New Horizon is safe, that's what matters." "Sir," the communications officer said, "we're receiving a transmission from the coalition flagship. It's Commander Vexrus." "Put him through." Vexrus appeared on screen. He looked broken. His 4 eyes were dull with shock. You turned rocks into weapons, Vexra said. You used the environment itself against us. No species has ever done such a thing. It's an old human tradition, Cole replied. When you don't have enough weapons, you make more. When you don't have enough soldiers, you fight smarter. When the odds are against you, you change the odds. You are insane, Vexra said. Maybe, Cole agreed. But we're alive, and we won. That's what insanity looks like when it works. He cut the transmission and turned to his crew. Good work, everyone. Let's go home. The War Council had expanded. What had once been a meeting of 7 species was now a gathering of 23. Word had spread across the galaxy about the human problem. Every species that had encountered them had the same story. Every species had the same question. How do you defeat an enemy that fights like the humans do? High Commander Vexra stood before them all. He had aged greatly in the past year. His scales had lost their shine. His movements were slow. The defeats had worn him down. I have fought the humans in 12 major engagements, he began. I have lost 10 of them. The 2 victories I achieved were hollow. The humans retreated only to attack somewhere else. They never truly lost. He activated the display behind him. It showed a map of human space. What had once been a small territory had grown. The humans were expanding rapidly, taking systems that the coalition had thought secure. Every species here has lost battles to them, Vexrus continued. The Veloran lost 3 fleets. The Draviks lost their forward bases. The Synthari lost their research station at Omega 9. None of us have found a way to win consistently against them. Strategic analyst Morvik stepped forward. She had dedicated her entire life to studying human tactics. Her gray skin was even paler now. She rarely slept. She rarely ate. The puzzle consumed her. I have compiled a comprehensive analysis, she said. What I am about to share may disturb some of you, but it is the truth and we must face it. She activated her presentation. Charts and graphs filled the display. The humans have fought 78 major battles since the war began. They have won 63 of them. That is an 80% victory rate against forces that consistently outnumber them. In 22 of these battles, the humans were outnumbered by more than 10 to 1. They won 15 of those. The council members murmured in shock. Those numbers should have been impossible. I have identified several patterns in human warfare, Morvix continued. First, they never fight the way you expect them to. They study their enemies carefully. They learn your patterns, your tactics, your assumptions. Then they do the opposite of what you predict. Second, they value adaptability over planning. Their commanders are given freedom to make decisions in battle. They can change tactics instantly without waiting for orders. This makes them unpredictable. Third, they embrace risk in ways we cannot understand. They accept casualties that any other species would consider unacceptable. They sacrifice ships, stations, even colonies if it helps them win the larger war. They think long-term in ways we do not. Fourth, and most disturbing, they learn from their defeats. When they lose, they study why they lost. They change their approach. They never make the same mistake twice. But we keep making the same mistakes against them because we cannot adapt as quickly as they can. An ambassador from a species called the Thornax raised his hand. What about their technology? Surely we can outmatch them with superior weapons. Our technology is superior, Morvix confirmed. Our ships are faster, our weapons are more powerful, our shields are stronger. None of it matters. The humans find ways to neutralize our advantages. They use terrain, they use tricks, they use tactics that our computer models cannot predict. She showed footage from a recent battle. A massive coalition dreadnought faced a group of human fighters. The dreadnought's shields were too strong for the fighters to penetrate. Its weapons could destroy them easily. But the fighters did not attack the dreadnought directly. Instead, they released thousands of tiny drones. The drones attached themselves to the dreadnought's hull. They crawled across the surface until they found the shield generators. Then they exploded. With its shields down, the dreadnought was vulnerable. The fighters swarmed in and tore it apart. They used mining drones, Morvix explained. Tools for extracting ore from asteroids. They turned them into weapons. Our shields are designed to stop weapons, not mining equipment. No one had ever thought to use such things in combat before. This is what I mean when I say they adapt, she continued. They look at everything as a potential weapon. They see possibilities where we see only tools or obstacles. Their minds work differently from ours. General Korth spoke from his seat. He had become the Council's foremost expert on human psychology. I have studied human history for 3 years now, he said. I have read their books, their records, their legends. I understand them better than I understand my own people now, and what I have learned frightens me. The humans have been fighting wars against each other for their entire history. Their recorded history shows war after war, conflict after conflict. They have spent thousands of years learning how to destroy each other. They have perfected the art of violence. But more than that, they have learned to win against impossible odds. Their history is full of stories about small forces defeating large ones. They call these moments miracles, but they are not miracles. They are the result of courage, creativity, and a willingness to take risks. We evolved to avoid risk, Korth continued. Our ancestors survived by being careful, but human ancestors survived by being brave. They fought predators larger than themselves. They explored environments that should have killed them. They took chances that no rational being would take, and they survived. They thrived. They conquered their world. Now they are trying to conquer the galaxy, and I fear they will succeed. The Council fell silent. The weight of Korth's words pressed down on everyone. Finally, Vexrus spoke. Then what do we do? Do we surrender? Do we accept human dominance? No, said a new voice. Everyone turned to see who had spoken. It was a young Krelian officer named Thessa. She had been promoted rapidly through the ranks because of her innovative thinking. She was one of the few coalition officers who had won a battle against the humans. We do not surrender, Thessa said. We learn, the humans adapt to defeat, so must we. They take risks, so must we. They think differently. We must learn to think differently too. You suggest we become like them? Vexrus asked. I suggest we learn from them. They are not gods. They are not invincible. They are simply better at war than we are. But war is a skill that can be taught. If we study them, if we truly understand how they think, we can find their weaknesses. And if they have no weaknesses? Thrix asked. Everyone has weaknesses, Thessa replied. The humans taught me that. They find the weaknesses in every enemy they face. We need to find theirs. The Council considered her words. It was a new approach. It was a risky approach. It meant changing everything they knew about warfare. But they had tried everything else. Nothing had worked. Very well, Vexrus said finally. We will try it your way. We will study the humans. We will learn their methods. And we will find a way to win. He did not feel confident. He did not feel hopeful. But for the first time in a long time, he felt something other than despair. He felt determination. Captain Marcus Cole received the news while his fleet was resupplying at Station Prometheus. The Coalition had changed tactics. They were no longer fighting in the old ways. They were adapting. The battle at Vega 7, Tanaka reported, reading from her datapad. Our third fleet engaged a Coalition force. The Coalition used hit-and-run tactics. They struck fast, caused damage, and retreated before our ships could respond. We lost 6 ships. They lost 2. Cole frowned. That's a human tactic. They're using our own strategies against us. It gets worse. At the Battle of Crimson Nebula, the Coalition used the nebula's radiation to mask their approach. They ambushed our convoy from 3 directions. We lost 12 cargo ships and their escorts. Using the environment, Cole said. Another human trick. Sir, they're learning from us. They're becoming more like us. Cole nodded slowly. He had expected this eventually. The coalition species were not stupid. They were just different. They thought in different ways, valued different things, but they were capable of learning. "Send a message to Admiral Chen," he said. "Tell her we need to meet. Things are about to get more interesting." 3 days later, Cole sat in a briefing room on the command ship THS Victory. Admiral Sarah Chen, the woman who had destroyed her own ship to save Haven Station, now commanded the human fleet. She had earned that command through victories that defied explanation. "You've seen the reports," Chen said. "The coalition is changing. They're no longer following their old patterns. They're becoming unpredictable." "Unpredictable is our advantage," Cole replied. "If they become unpredictable too, we lose that edge." "Exactly. We need to stay ahead of them. We need to evolve faster than they do." "How?" Chen smiled. It was the same smile she had worn before she destroyed her ship, the smile of someone with a crazy plan. "We stop fighting battles," she said. "We start fighting a war." Cole leaned forward, intrigued. "Explain." "We've been reacting to coalition attacks, defending colonies, protecting convoys. We've been letting them choose where and when to fight. That needs to change." "You want to go on the offensive?" "More than that. I want to change the nature of the conflict. Right now, we're fighting over territory, over resources, over pride. That's a war we could eventually lose because they have more territory, more resources, and more pride." "What kind of war do you want to fight?" "A war for ideas, a war for the future. We need to show the coalition that this conflict doesn't have to end with one side destroying the other. We need to give them a reason to stop fighting." Cole considered this. It was not a typical military strategy. It was something larger, something more ambitious. "You want to win their minds, not just their battles." "Yes, every battle we win makes them fear us more. But fear is not enough to end a war. We need them to respect us, to see us as equals, maybe even as potential allies." "How do we do that?" Chen activated a display showing a system deep in coalition space. "The Krelian homeworld, their capital, their seat of government. We're going to attack it." Cole's eyes widened. "That's suicide. They'll have hundreds of ships defending it, orbital platforms, ground batteries. We'd need every ship we have and we'd still probably lose." "We're not going to conquer it," Chen clarified. "We're going to threaten it. We're going to show them that their heart is vulnerable, that no matter how many ships they build, no matter how many systems they control, we can reach them anywhere. And then we talk, from a position of strength. We offer them peace on terms that both sides can accept." Cole thought about it. It was audacious. It was dangerous. It was possibly insane. It was exactly the kind of plan that had won them every battle so far. "How do we get there?" he asked. "The route is heavily guarded. We'd be detected long before we reach the homeworld." "We don't take the normal route. We go through the void." Cole felt his stomach drop. The void was a region of space that no ship entered willingly. Radiation storms, gravitational anomalies, sensor-dead zones. Ships that went into the void rarely came out. "The void is impassable," he said. "The coalition thinks so too. That's why they won't expect us to come from that direction." "Because it's impossible." Chen's smile widened. "We've made a career of doing impossible things, Captain. Why stop now?" Cole wanted to argue. He wanted to point out all the ways this plan could fail, but he knew that Chen was right. The coalition expected humans to be unpredictable. They would guard against conventional attacks. They would prepare for tricks and ambushes. They would not prepare for an attack through the void, because no sane species would attempt it. "How many ships?" he asked finally. 30 small, fast ships, enough to cause damage and make a statement, not enough to actually threaten the planet. "And the crews, they're volunteers." "All volunteers. Everyone knows the risks." Cole stood up. Then count me in. The Defiance will be part of this mission. Chen nodded. I expected nothing less. We leave in 3 days. Prepare your crew. Back on the Defiance, Cole gathered his senior officers. He explained the mission. He explained the dangers. He explained that this could be the end for all of them. When he finished, Tanaka spoke first. Sir, permission to speak freely. Granted. This is the craziest plan I've ever heard. Going through the void is suicide. Attacking the Coalition homeworld is suicide. Doing both at the same time is suicide squared. I know. When do we leave? Cole smiled. 3 days. I'll have the crew ready in 2. Cole looked around at his officers. Every one of them was nodding. Every one of them was ready to follow him into the impossible. That was what it meant to be human, to face the impossible and say, let's try anyway. 3 days later, 30 human ships entered the void, and the galaxy would never be the same. The journey through the void was everything they had feared and more. Radiation storms battered the shields. Gravitational waves threatened to tear the ships apart. Navigation was nearly impossible in zones where sensors showed only static. They lost 5 ships in the first week, 2 to radiation, 2 to gravity wells that appeared without warning. 1 simply vanished there one moment and gone the next. But 25 ships pressed on. Captain Cole spent most of the journey on the bridge. Sleep came in brief moments between crises. His crew worked in shifts, but he refused to leave. If the Defiance was going to die, he would be there when it happened. Gravitational anomaly ahead, Tanaka reported. Her voice was hoarse from exhaustion. Big one, I don't think we can go around it. Cole studied the readings. The anomaly stretched across their path like a wall. Going around would add days to their journey, days they did not have. Can we go through it? Maybe. The gravitation forces would tear at the hull. We might lose structural integrity. Maybe and might are better odds than we've faced before. Take us through. The fleet entered the anomaly. The ships groaned under the stress. Alarms blared across every deck. One ship's hull buckled and it fell behind, unable to continue. But 24 ships emerged on the other side. 2 weeks after entering the void, they finally saw clear space ahead. The Krelian homeworld lay before them, undefended from this direction because no one had ever come from this direction before. Signal from Admiral Chen, the communications officer said. All ships are to form up. We're going in. The human fleet emerged from the void like ghosts. They appeared on coalition sensors without warning, already deep inside the defensive perimeter. On the Krelian homeworld, High Commander Vexrus received the alert while meeting with the Coalition Council. He read the report 3 times, unable to believe what he was seeing. Impossible, he breathed. They came through the void. No one survives the void. 24 human ships, his aide reported. They're heading directly for the planet. Scramble all defensive units. Get every ship in orbit. They cannot be allowed to reach the surface. But even as he gave the orders, Vexrus knew the truth. The humans had already won. Not the battle, perhaps, but something more important. They had proven that nowhere was safe. They had proven that no defense was strong enough. They had come to the heart of the coalition and showed that they could strike wherever they wished. The human fleet approached the planet. Coalition ships rushed to intercept them, but the humans did not engage. They flew in tight formation, weaving through the defensive fire with impossible skill. Admiral Chen's voice came over all frequencies, broadcast to the entire planet. People of the coalition, she said, we have come not to conquer but to demonstrate. We crossed the void which you believed impassable. We reached your homeworld which you believed untouchable. We could destroy your orbital platforms and bomb your cities, but we will not. The coalition ships continued to fire. 3 human ships fell, burning as they descended toward the atmosphere, but the others pressed on. "We are not your enemies," Chen continued. "We never wanted this war. You attacked us because we were different, because we frightened you. We defended ourselves because that is what humans do. We survive. We adapt. We overcome." The fleet reached low orbit. Below them, millions of Krelians looked up at the sky and saw human ships where no enemy had ever been before. "But survival is not enough," Chen said. "Victory is not enough. We want peace, real peace between equals. You have called us insane, and perhaps we are. But our insanity has brought us here to your doorstep to offer you something no sane species would offer. We offer you friendship. We offer you alliance. We offer you a future where human creativity and coalition wisdom work together. Imagine what we could accomplish. Imagine the problems we could solve. Imagine the galaxy we could build. Or imagine continued war. More battles, more death, more destruction. You have seen what we can do. You know that you cannot defeat us through force alone, but we cannot defeat you either, not truly. This war could last generations. It could consume us all. We choose a different path. We choose hope over fear. We choose tomorrow over today. The choice is yours." Chen's voice fell silent. The human fleet hung in orbit, vulnerable and exposed. If the coalition chose to continue fighting, they could destroy every human ship. The moment stretched for an eternity. Then High Commander Vexrus's voice came over the same frequency. "All coalition ships cease fire." The guns fell silent. "Admiral Chen," Vexrus said, "you have proven your point. You have proven many points. We cannot defeat you. We cannot contain you. We cannot predict you. You are everything we feared and more. But you are also something we did not expect. You are merciful. You could have attacked our cities. You did not. You could have killed millions. You chose not to. Perhaps you are insane, but perhaps insanity is what the galaxy needs. I cannot speak for all species in the coalition, but I can speak for the Krelian Empire. We accept your offer of peace. We accept your offer of alliance. Let this be the beginning of something new." On the bridge of the Defiance, Cole felt tears running down his face. Around him, his crew was cheering. They had done it. They had won the impossible war in the impossible way. Not through destruction, but through courage. Not through fear, but through hope. In the months that followed, one by one, the other coalition species joined the alliance. Some came quickly, convinced by the humans' mercy at Krelia. Others took longer, needing to overcome generations of fear and mistrust. But in the end, they all came. The Human Coalition Alliance grew into something greater than either side could have achieved alone. Human creativity combined with coalition knowledge. Human audacity tempered by coalition wisdom. Human chaos balanced by coalition order. Years later, strategic analyst Morvix published her final report on human tactics. It became the most widely read document in galactic history. Every military academy studied it. Every diplomat memorized it. The report concluded with words that became famous. "The humans are insane by any rational measure. They take risks no other species would consider. They attempt the impossible as if it were routine. They embrace chaos while others seek order. They find victory in places where victory should not exist. We studied them to learn how to defeat them. Instead, we learned how to join them. The humans taught us that sanity is not always wisdom, that caution is not always safety, that the impossible is only impossible until someone is crazy enough to try it. They declared us their enemies and made us their friends. They showed us our weaknesses and helped us become stronger. They won every battle they should have lost, and then gave us peace we did not deserve. We called them insane, but they were victorious always, and now together we will be victorious too." Captain Marcus Cole, now Admiral Cole, read the report in his quarters on the first anniversary of the peace. He smiled at Morvix's words. "Insane but victorious," he said to himself. "I can live with that." He looked out the viewport at the stars. Human ships flew alongside coalition vessels. Former enemies worked together to explore unknown space. The galaxy stretched before them, full of mysteries to solve and wonders to discover. The future was uncertain. The challenges would be great, but humanity had faced impossible odds before and prevailed. They would do it again. Because that was what it meant to be human. Insane, reckless, unpredictable, and victorious always.